Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. It is lunchtime. Um, and Wednesdays are a work day for me. I work my regular job, but I work from home on Wednesdays. So I'm taking my lunch break to try to do some things around the farm, around the property. It's nice to get out of the office. It's easy to sit there at a computer all day and start going stir crazy. I'm lucky because I'm a little bit ADHD. As I've talked to doctors or whatever over the years, some people get a problem because they sit for long periods of time. I can't sit for an hour usually. That's a rare to me for me. But I do like to get out. On the days we go to the office, we try to take a walk, get some fresh air, and get out of the cube land and the lights and all that. Today, so I decided there's several little things I needed to do. I try to package and do little stuff while I'm on these little power workouts, I guess you call them. And today I'm in the garage. I need to do some work in here. There's two little aspects that don't get talked about very much in permaculture or in homesteading, and that is you actually need a lot of diverse equipment to do the different stuff that you're doing. To do food preservation, the basics are dehydrating. So you have a dehydrator, and then you can start doing canning. So like we did canning a week or two ago, and you need all of the little stuff, the lids and the tools. And if you're then you need to store the canning pot. I noticed after I posted my picture, the canning pot I was using was it looked filthy from the outside on the picture. I was kind of embarrassed about it a little bit. But that's because it's only used as a utility thing. It's not used for food. So it goes onto the stove and then goes out into the garage where it's stored until we're doing the next one. It's really kind of an industrial utility thing. But I'm looking right now and standing in the garage. So our garage is really used as a staging area. I really use the garage for two things. Three things, I guess. I store all my tools here. I use it as a wood shop. We'll come back to that. I use a wood shop like all the time, and then I use it to store a lot of the food processing and other things, because there's no way you'd store all this stuff in the kitchen. We'll do a brief inventory of what we have in here. But while I'm doing this, I've got some stuff on the floor. Things have moved around. Like a lot of people, my garage is used as a staging area. So as we're cleaning out and moving other things around, sometimes things get out here, and you just have to clean things up. It's something that I'm working on to be a better person in life, cleaning up as I go along. I'm making progress, but there's still a place to go. So I just picked up a dehydrator that was sitting on the floor that I got from my mother. She gave it to me. It is one of I guess I have three main dehydrators. I use one of the little Presto ones like you get at Walmart or wherever. They work great for 90% of your dehydrating needs. If somebody's going to start into food preservation, I would say start with dehydrating food. It's one of the cheapest and easiest ways. And because you actually dehydrate things, it's one of the easiest ways to store things. As long as you keep them from getting damp and keep them in a cool, dark place, they'll last a long time, months, even years. Um, so I've got the dehydrator, and I said I've got two of these little Presto sort of ones, and then I have one that's a better quality that I can control the temperature on. If you're doing things like making jerky or dehydrating herbs or other things where you need to temperature variant, you're going to have to upgrade to one of those. The other thing is because we produce food in more quantity, we get a lot of things coming on all at the same time. So oftentimes, we're almost there, especially in September. The dehydrator will be running almost 24 hours a day for weeks on end. So I have pots, canning pots. I'm looking right now. There's two pressure cookers. One that is a double decker. I never bought it. Somebody gave that to me. And then I've got two other canning pots that are just like the one that we had in the video. So there's three of those completely. Again, all of them have been gifted to me. When people find out that I can stuff, oftentimes they take grandma's whatever, and they just hand it to me. So I've got those, and you can imagine the pots are kind of big. They're all like 4 or 5 gallons. They take up room. I'm looking, I have a great big stock pot. That's the clean pot that I use. That's about 4 gallons or so. So if I'm making stock, that one I use. I have a meat slicer. I haven't used that in a few years. I haven't had cause to. Um, there I have a food, what do you call it? A vacuum sealer. I use that quite a bit from time to time. I haven't used it much this year. Um, and let's see, I have cheese making stuff. Now this is something I wanted to address because I'm looking in here and I have a lot of different things. Like there is an apple press, there's an apple grinder. I have a bin here that is about meat processing. This one is fermenting lids and weights. This is all brewing materials in that one. This is all my knife sharpening gear. This is the cheese making one again. This is grinders, pitters, peelers, and choppers. This is my Millimix, which my mother gave me. It is a really fantastic wheat grinder. My folks moved out of their home into a retirement home about a year ago, so I inherited some of these things. Then there's some roasting pans in here. I have an electric canner that is still new in the box. I bought that last year. I was going to use it, but I ended up not using it. That's because when you're doing things like tomatoes, you're processing stuff and you're trying to process a lot of things simultaneously, and sometimes you run out of space, and you start to bottleneck around a single burner on a stove. So I got that. When the tariffs started coming up, I decided I'd buy something that I was afraid might get, and I bought a still. We can talk about that more in a little bit. It is new in the box. I got it last year. I have not used it yet. And part of the reason I have these things and I haven't used them is I think I've mentioned before, I laid out it was a 7-year plan at the time. It was when I turned 53, which was in January, and I really said, well, I want to get all the construction on this place done when I turn 60. That's just an arbitrary time, but it's just to stay focused on that. Because of that, many of the things that got me interested or kept me interested in like homesteading or permaculture have kind of taken a bit of a back burner. Because I spend a lot of my time and resources building or repairing things right now on a schedule, I don't have as much time to do processing, but my intention is to switch gears in about 6 years and spend more time processing. So I've dabbled in cheese making and I enjoy it. I've dabbled in making alcohol, which I enjoy. And then I've done all the different food preservation methods, which I also enjoy. But oftentimes on a Saturday, I'm building fence, or I need to build a hay shed for the sheep, or I need to enhance the chicken's watering system. And part of the plan, that this is where people get really overwhelmed, is if they're trying to do too many things simultaneously. So the takeaway from this that I want you to hear is it's okay to give yourself permission to delay or not do all the things every year. You kind of do this in order to get to the pinnacle, in order to make your grandmother's tomato sauce. But sometimes after you plant and raise and pick and harvest, and store, and then process the tomatoes, you're just all out of energy and time to actually make the sauce. And that can feel fatiguing. It can feel like you failed. But you had success, 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 and it was a bridge too far, to use the old metaphor, which is completely apropos for this. It's just you plan to do too much, and you just couldn't get all the way there. And I found about 2 years ago, I kind of went through a bit of a mental crisis. Actually, about this time of the year, I was just depressed and fatigued about all the things I wasn't getting done, and I had to let go. I had to just let go and say, you know what? It's okay if the fruit rots, which is something you've heard me say before. You get these fruit trees, and I have a 60-year-old apple tree that produces so many apples. I could easily turn and create at least 20 gallons of cider out of that tree, if I focused on it. But I can't. I can't let that get to me. The tree just exists. The tree just lives. And if the tree drops its fruit and the fruit goes back into the ground and the cycle just keeps on going, that's okay. I don't have to do all the things all the time. So we're in the garage. Talked about some of the things that we store there, but that takes a lot of time and energy to store all this stuff. So you kind of have to have the space. And when I see people doing this on a quarter acre, which is impressive and admirable, and I don't want to discourage that because that's kind of how I started. And in a way, you can get more done because you don't have to manage all this land. I spend so much time, as you guys have heard me complain, I've spent so much time clearing blackberries and just doing weed whacking and mowing because I have this amount of property that I have to care for. And if you don't have that property, then you don't have that task and you can focus on the higher level production things, which are the things that bring more value, that bring more calories and bring more interest to your food. So I think a mistake that people make when they're thinking about doing permaculture or homesteading is they try to get as much land as they can, but then they become farmers. They have to manage that land as a business, and that diverts them from the energy of, say, homesteading and producing your own food. So the wood shop, right now, and this stuff I've collected over the last 25 years. So I don't want people to think they need to. It's like a Gran Torino, the Clint Eastwood movie, where he's talking to the kid about his car tools, and he's like, you realize this took me a lifetime to get to. I have a table saw that I keep under this workbench. I pull that out. I have an industrial chop saw that I've had for years. This thing's probably 20 years old. Um, that is front and center. I use this tool of all my power tools. I use this more than anything. I have another circular saw that I have set up to cut cement board. Right now, in addition to everything else we're doing, we are re-siding the house. And then that's a topic for another day, but we're using hardy board, we're using cement board to replace the vinyl siding on the house. Partly because it wears better, it doesn't rot, and it's fire resistant. So I've got that set up, and it's sitting outside right now because that's what I was working on Saturday. I have right behind this a bench grinder that is used mostly to sharpen my tools. The one thing that I wish every gardener would learn is they should sharpen their hoes. A sharp hoe is a lot better than a dull hoe. Make whatever joke you want right there. And I've got lots of wood that I'm storing here. When I get done with the siding of the house, I have a little project to build a wood corral, a place to store lumber. I'm always in need of 2x4s and random pieces. And then I have two workbenches that are always, unfortunately, full of things, especially things where I just don't know where they go. I do not have enough storage for all the different things that I do, and you start getting random bits. And that's one of the difficulties that I struggle with. I'm looking right here on this little shelf, and I have some kerosene that's used in lamps that I use as, I don't use it very often, but I have it as a backup. So I do have kerosene lamps around if we needed light and we didn't have electricity. There I have some green vinegar-based weed killer that I purchased a month or so ago. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. I have a solar rechargeable security light that I took down. It's not working right now. I need to check to see if the batteries or there's another wiring problem. And here is a battery tester that I use with my solar array to test to see the output on batteries. Here is a box of nails that's used to do tar paper. That's what we're using underneath the siding. So you just get it. It goes on and on and on. So I think one needs to understand that when you do a big complex operation like this, you have to have a big complex supporting structure. And like today, I have to take times to clean it up. All right, well, that's a look into kind of the sort of stuff you have to have. I'm just giving you a high level inventory, but don't despair if you're not cash rich, which I am not either. A lot of this stuff can be purchased at garage sales, secondhand stores, antique shops, by just connecting to people. If your local extension service has a canning service, you go start hanging out with those people, you'll probably get hand-me-down equipment. Matter of fact, I got stuff that if I knew here that somebody, I told you I have all these stock pots or all these canning pots. If I knew somebody's going to use them, I'd hand it to them in a second. I don't need that many. But when people offer me this stuff, I just take it because I know that it has intrinsic value. All right. Well, I think that's what I'm going to say for today. Again, if you want to contact me, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about your chorin. Send me a line. My email is john@johnlarson.org, and I hope you have a good one. Thanks.